Welcome back to Your Darts, where we learn to do dart checkouts in our head. Okay, so we're going to continue on this theme of one dart setup. So we have a 2-digit number. What do we throw out if we've only got one dart? Let's investigate that. So as always, I want to just show you another example showing you where these 2-dart finishes and learning the 2-dart finishes first, certainly when you're starting to check out, means everything. So we got 137. When we're going to throw a treble 20, the rule of 40 formula comes into play. You just visualize 40 onto the last two digits, in this case 37, and you've revealed the 2-digit number that you need is 77. You've got 2 darts to take out 77, and I've shown you 2 good ways to take out 77. I like to go treble 19 because it's 57, and a number like 77 is quite easy to realize. I need 20 more to make it 77, so that's double 10. But if you don't like the right side of the board, you prefer the left side of the board, you can go treble 15 for double 16. So those are 2 really good solid ways I've taught you to take out 77. So again, don't see this big daunting 3-digit number 137 as you know, a tough number to learn. Just see that as treble 20 leaving 77. Go learn your 2-dart finishes and it all makes sense. So before we get into today's lesson, I just want to tell you what's coming up in a couple of videos time. So previously, what I've been showing you, how to carve up these big 3-digit numbers. Okay, you put 40 onto the last 2 digits. It reveals one of these 2-digit numbers. You've got 2 darts though. Okay, you've thrown it at your treble, you've hit it, assuming, and we've revealed one of these 2-dart finishes, and you take it out with 2 darts. But what if you come to these numbers, and you often will, and you have 3 darts? Would you go the same route I've taught you? Not necessarily. And I'm going to explain why and show you how, or the best ways, and certainly give you as many options as I know how to take them out if you have 3 darts. But we're going to get into that in the next couple of videos, so please stay tuned for that. So here are a list of what I like to call the misrule numbers. So we've got our 2-digit number, we've got 2 darts to throw at it. This is what happens, this is what's left if we've missed the treble. For instance, miss your treble 20 and hit your single 20, miss your treble 19 and hit your single 19. I like to call out the misrule because we're going to do that. We're going to hit the big number more times than we hit the treble. Okay, and these are the most common numbers that are revealed, and this is all about how should you approach that number if you've only got 1 dart. I think it's an important concept. We've already covered the ones in the black number, and we're going to be covering the ones in the highlighted red at the moment. Okay, so let's get to that right now. Okay, so let's get on to these 1 dart setups. So these are the numbers today. We're going to start with 62. Okay, so for instance, let's pretend it's a good example, 62, because it kind of runs with the first example I gave you today. Okay, where it revealed 77. Okay, on the one of the first slides. So you got 77. Okay, you got 2 darts to take it out. A really good way to do that, a common way, is treble 15 for double 16. But this misrule come into play. We've missed treble 15, hit the big 15. It's revealed 62. Now I previously taught you the 2-dart finish. Remember, 2 darts, not 1 dart. The 2-dart finish of 62 is treble 12. The first dart indicator runs with this 2-digit number. First dart indicators. Okay, treble 12 for double 13. But we don't want to go that way, because if we hit treble 12, we come to the board with 3 darts at double 13. It's not a great double to go for. Okay, so if you got fine if you got 2 darts, but if you've got 1 dart, this is what this is all about. You got 1 dart at 62. You're gonna have to use a bit of common sense here, and I would throw at treble 10 for double 16 when I return back to the board. Hopefully 3 darts at double 16. Now if I miss treble 10 and hit the big 10, I'll be returned to the board with 52. Again, and even that's a nice number to work out. You can go a single 20 for double 16, or big 12 for double 20. Okay, so that's number 62. On to the next example of 64. So if you had 84 and you got 2 darts to take it out, you're going to go treble 20 for hopefully double 12. But if you miss your treble, hit your big number, you reveal, just take 20 off that number, of course, you reveal 64. Now I've taught you 64 with 2 darts, treble 14 for double 11. Should it go that way? Well, no, because again, you don't want to return to the board with double 11. Okay, yes, if you miss the treble 14 and hit the single 14, you return to the board with 50, but there's better options here. Okay, so if you've got 64 and you've got one dart left, this is all about your one dart setups. You've got one dart left. I think most people would go treble 16. If you hit that, you come back to the board for double 8. Now, of course, if you miss treble 16, hit the big 16. To work that out, just take 20 off 64, which is 44, and add 4 more on because it's 16, not 20. So it's 48. You return back to the board with 48, and you've got lots of options to take that out. Okay. The other way to take out 64 would be to throw out treble 8, which is 24. Okay, which would leave double 20. So even though I prefer double 20, I still would probably throw treble 16 for double 8. How random is that? But I'm enjoying 16s and 8s at the moment. But I do have the option to go for treble 8 for double 20, which is one of my strongest double, if not my strongest double. And hitting the single 8, of course, know what that will be. Just take 10 off 64. That would be 54. Add 2 more on because it's 8, not 10. And it would be 56 when you return back to the board. Okay, so always think about it. It's not necessarily going to be what I've taught you previously, because that was the 2 dart finishes. These are 1 dart setups. Okay, let's go to the next number. So on to the next example, 66. So say if you had 83, you got the 2 dart finish for 83, treble 17 for double 16, but I've missed the treble and I've hit the big 17. It's revealed 66. Now I've taught 66 as treble 16 for double 9, but you're not going to go that way. You've got 66, you've got 1 dart left. I think most people will go treble 10 for double 18. Hitting the big 10 would leave 56 when you return back to the board. Okay, so you've got to get used to, people can get very territorial about, I just have to throw at 16s, or I'm just a 20s guy. You've got to be able to throw at, the main doubles here I think are 20s, 18s, 16s and maybe 14s, and of course 10s, let's not forget that. So you've got to get you out of your comfort zone. But if you've got 1 dart for 66, treble 10 for double 18 I think is the shot. On to the next example of 68. So say if you had 86 and the 2 dart finish for 86 is treble 18 for double 16, missing the treble 18, hitting the big 18, which is what this is all about, reveals 68. Now I previously taught you the 2 dart finish for 68 is treble 18, so we are in the same area, but if you hit it you would be on double 7, and that's not a great thing to be on really. If you've got 3 darts, double 7, it's awkward, it's an odd number. So the 2 examples I'm going to give you, if you've got 1 dart, remember, 1 dart left, 68, I would personally go treble 16. If I hit my treble 16 and return, which is 48, I return for double 10, which is a very strong finish for me. Okay, the other way to take out 68 if you've got 1 dart, I think most people probably throw at treble 20, hitting the big 20, which will be 60, come back to the board for double 4. Of course, hitting the single 20 would leave 48. But that's 2 options if you got 1 dart at 68. So on to the next example. So if we had 87, 87 is the first dart indicator. You've got 2 darts to take it out. You're going to throw treble 17 for double 18. But of course, we've missed the treble 17, hit your big 17, just take 17 off 87, and it reveals 70. Okay. Now, you've got 1 dart left to take out of 70. I've previously taught you a 2 dart finish for 70 as being treble 20 for double 5, but that's if you've got 2 darts, because we're assuming if we miss the treble 20, hit the single 20, it leaves that shot out of bullseye, right? But if you've got 1 dart, you're not going to go that way. Okay. The 2 most common ways if you've got 1 dart to take out 70, I think would be treble 10. Okay, and I like both these ways. Okay, treble 10 for double 20. Okay, hitting the big 10 would leave 60 when you return back to the board. And I used to strictly be that way, but doing these videos I've suddenly realized, and also the practice that I do, I've realized that 1 dart at 70 you can go treble 18 for double 8. I quite like double 8s and 16s now. I'm pretty accurate with them, so I put this into my repertoire. If I've got 1 dart, sometimes I throw a treble 10, and it all depends how I'm throwing on the night, I think. And sometimes I will go treble 18 for double 8. Hitting the big 18 would leave 52. So and you come back to the board 52, right? Single 20 for double 16, or 12 for double 20, which would be most common ways to take that out. But yeah, 1 dot at 70, treble 10 for double 20, or treble 18 for double 8. On to the next example. So if we had 92, you got the finish for 2 dart finish for 92 is treble 20 double 16. Okay, but we missed treble 20, hit the big 20, it leaves 72. Okay, now the 2 dart finish I've previously taught you for 72 is a first dart indicator, so treble 12 for double 18. I think this works in this situation. So you've got 1 dart at 72, why not go for treble 12 and return for double 18? And a good reason to do that is because this misrule, if I hit that 12, and I will do that more than hitting the treble, okay, this is what it's all about, then I'll leave 60. So, you know, easy to work out. Of course, there's problems when we're going for a single 20. Of course there is. We can always hit that 5 and the 1, but that's an alignment issue. But it's all about understanding the maths in this game of darts, okay? And I think it's nice. Sometimes the misrule itself helps me dictate which way I'm going to go. The other way for 72 is treble 16 for double 12, and you can certainly do that. We've got 1 dart at 72. You might go treble 16. This is the first way I learned to do this for double 12. Of course, you've got to like double 12. It's not a bad double though, and hitting the big 16 would leave 56 when you return. So it's whichever way you want. I would go treble 12 for double 18, and I've changed my way. Well, I've taught you these throughout these videos. I like treble 12 for 72. I think it's treble 12 double 18. It's a great way to go. So that's basically how you would take out, or where you got 1 dart at 72. I would advise you to go the same way as if you know what you've learned already for the 2 dart finishes. Okay, so treble 12 for double 18 when you return. Okay, so on to the final example of the day, number 74. So if you had 93, okay, bit of an awkward one to learn, but it's one you need to know. It's treble 19 for double 18. Okay, but we missed treble 19, hit the big 19, it's revealed 74. You've got 1 dart left. Now I previously taught you the 2 dart finish for 74. 74 is a first dart indicator. Treble first dart indicator, so treble 14 for double 16. But should you go that way with 1 dart? Why not? Because if you hit it, you leave double 16, one of your most common doubles. I think what we'll find when you're hitting this, especially from all the way from 72 onwards, you should potentially, it's quite good to go the way I've taught you for the 2 dart finishes, but we're going to get into that in the next video to see if it does actually work. But I think if you like the double of the 2 dart finishes, it makes sense to go that way if you've only got 1 dart. Okay, it really does. And if I miss the, so I'm on 74, I've gone for treble 14, I've hit the 14, it leaves me 60. Okay, so I return to the board with 60. I also might go, if I've got 74 and I'm hitting this well, I might go for, because even though I do like double 16, I'm stronger on double 10 and double 20s. So if I've got 74, I've got 1 dart, I may well go for treble 18 for double 10. Okay, hitting the big 18 would leave 56 now, but I only go that way if I'm hitting that sort of, if I'm hitting the treble 18s. All players will know that some nights you're good on certain things and you're bad on certain things. Okay, but I do like, it's good to know as many different ways to finish, right? Just in case you do approach, you know, have that night where you go, I can't hit the right side of the board, but you know, I'm gonna change it to the left side of the board. Okay. Anyway, so that's how to take out a 74 if you had 1 dart. Go for the same way I've taught you for 2 darts, like treble 14 for double 16 when you return. Okay, so thanks for watching. Coming next time, we're going to be finishing off these common 1 dart setups, and then we're going to be getting on something else. Thanks again for watching. Take care for now.